In Creo Parametric manufacturing mode, you have to create an operation before you can start defining sequences. Here I am in a manufacturing model. In previous videos, I created my manufacturing model, then I added the reference part, created a workpiece, defined a work center, and placed a fixture into the NC model. If you take a look at the interface, right now I'm on the manufacturing tab. The cutting tools command is currently not available, although if you go to the machine tool setup drop-down menu, you can access the tool parameter UI and the tool manager. But if you take a look at the rest of the ribbon, we do have a manufacturing geometry group, but we don't have anywhere to define any sequences. So let's go about creating our operation. I will click on the operation command. This opens up the dashboard, and you'll notice that my fixture went away. I'll address that in a moment. From this drop-down list, we could choose our work center from the list of ones that we had defined in our model. And then we have a field where we can define our coordinate system for our program 0, or you could select an existing one. But first, before I define my program 0, I'm going to bring the fixture setup back because sometimes you want to define your program 0 based off of the fixture. So I will start by going to the fixture setup tab. Right now we have no setup. I can go to the drop-down list and choose the one I had previously defined. Now we can see it back again. Let me zoom in a little bit. Let's define our program 0 now. So with the collector active, I will go to the far side of the ribbon. Here we have our datum drop-down list where we can create new datums, and I will create a coordinate system. Let's say I want the origin of that coordinate system to be on this vertex. I will select it, and then I will go to the orientation tab. I'll click in this field to select a surface to define my Z direction. And when you are defining your program 0, you want the Z direction to be in the direction of the motion. Here I'm having it in the upwards direction, so this is where the tool will move up and down. Okay, and for the next reference, I'll select this surface, and I'll let this surface define the X direction. I like the way that X and Y are oriented in my model. So then I can click the OK button, and we have our coordinate system created. Let me hit the play button in order to resume the dashboard, and the coordinate system is listed as the program 0. Then let's fill in some of the other information. By the way, you will notice that the green check mark is currently available, so I don't need to define anything else. Everything else is optional in the operation command. So let's go to clearance. Right now, we don't have any clearance, but I can define one. From the type drop-down list, you can use a plane, cylinder, sphere, or surface. I will define a plane, and for the reference, I will use this surface. And then we have a drag handle where we can define the distance. And I don't want the distance to be crazy. I don't want too much extra motion in my sequences and my toolpath. I'll use a value of 50, which if you are a manufacturing expert, you might look at that and say, oh, wow, that's even too much, Dave. Probably true. So anyhow, we have this option here to always use an operation retract. You can uncheck that if you want. We have a home point tab if you want to define a home point. Then there is a parameters tab where you can fill in information for part number, startup file, shutdown file, and output file. Then there's the options tab, and we have a drop-down list for the stock material. Right now, we just have high-speed steel. You can select that if you want to. There is a button to create a new material, and in another video, I will show how to define your different stock materials and the file that they are contained in. But let's go ahead and select HSS. And I already showed the fixture setup tab. There is a process tab where you can add a time for this if you want. And then a properties tab if you want to give a different name to the operation other than the default OP010. But everything is good here. I will hit the check mark. And now when we take a look at the interface, first off, the cutting tools command is available to us. Also, we now have a new tab that has been added. We have the Mill tab. And the Mill tab is available based off of the work center that I created. If I created a different kind of work center, I'd have a different name for the tab. But anyhow, from here, you can see that you can create your manufacturing geometry, just like on the manufacturing tab. But here we have our different sequences. We have things like our face milling and our profile milling, roughing, re-roughing, finishing, and so on. We go to the right side of the ribbon. There are also some commands for high-speed milling. And then we also have a number of different hole making cycles. So at this point, I could start defining some sequences, but I still haven't gone through information like tools and parameters, so I will do that in forthcoming videos.